Some human creations seem to defy the limits of imagination. They are born from the genius of visionary architects and from the skill of master builders. Others bear witness to the greatness of lost civilizations, defying time with their magnificence. They are extraordinary works in their genre, fruits of human ingenuity and the pursuit of aesthetic perfection. Sometimes they rise in extreme places or seem impossible to realize, yet they exist and leave us breathless. Today we embark on a journey to discover the most extraordinary places ever created by man. Among these, hidden marvels and masterpieces that have changed the course of history. Pyramids of Giza, Egypt. In Cairo, every morning, the sun's rays light up three stone giants that have defied time for over 4,500 years. The Great Pyramid of Cheops rises like a perfect geometric mountain, built with 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing as much as a modern car. Beside it, the pyramids of Khafre and Menkaure complete this sacred triangle that once gleamed with polished white limestone, visible for miles away. Here, the desert meets the urban chaos of modern Cairo, creating a contrast that nearly moves one to tears. It's possible to walk among these colossi and feel the weight of history. They are not just monuments, but the only ones of the seven wonders of the ancient world still standing. Every stone tells of ingenious engineers who achieved the impossible, using only ramps, levers, and the strength of thousands of workers. Sigiriya, Sri Lanka. On an island where the jungle embraces the secrets of the past, a rock rises like a titan of stone toward the sky. Sigiriya, the ancient fortress palace built 1,500 years ago, still challenges our understanding today. A patricidal king, Kashyapa I, transformed this natural monolith into an architectural miracle, creating a vertical city that seems to defy gravity. As one climbs the ancient steps, Through the jaws of a now ruined stone lion, one discovers frescoes of mysterious maidens of debated origins, with their colors still vivid after centuries. On the summit plateau where hanging gardens and golden pavilions once stood, the wind whispers stories of court intrigues and betrayals. It's a place where ancient engineering and artistic beauty merge in a work that continues to question archaeologists and visitors. How was it possible to create such a marvel with the tools of that era? Hang Mua, Vietnam. Climbing 500 stone steps in the province of Ninh Binh, Hang Mua offers one of the most incredible panoramas of Vietnam. This place, whose name means dancing cave, was born when a king of the Tran dynasty built a temple, where he entertained himself watching his servants dance. From the peak of Ngo, a long mountain opens a breathtaking view that embraces golden rice fields, limestone mountains, and the winding Ngo Dong River that flows among the rock formations. The path is challenging, but every drop of sweat is repaid when one reaches the summit. Halfway up, the trail forks. One leads to the Dragon Viewpoint, which is the most spectacular. The other to the pagoda, less difficult but equally suggestive. Both destinations guard the remains of the ancient temple, with traditional Vietnamese architecture that still reveals today the refined mastery of the Tran dynasty artisans. Registan Square, Uzbekistan. In the heart of the ancient Silk Road, three madrasas rise like turquoise and gold giants, silent witnesses of an era when Samarkand was the crossroads of civilizations. The Registan is not just a square, it's an open-air theater where mathematics meets poetry. Its mosaics tell stories in a language made of infinite geometries, where each tile has been positioned with millimetric precision to create patterns that seem to dance in the sunset light. The towers lean slightly outward, an architectural trick that deceives the eye and makes them appear perfectly vertical. At night, when the moon illuminates the glazed domes, one seems to be transported to a world where science and mysticism merge, where ancient astronomers studied the stars, while poets composed immortal verses in the halls of the madrasas. Taj Mahal, India. It's not just a monument to love, it's a poem written in marble, a crystallized dream that defies time. The Taj Mahal emerges in the dawn mist like a mirage, with its perfect forms reflected in the waters of the geometric gardens. This love story, transformed into architecture thanks to the will of the Mughal emperor, hides secrets in every corner. Its domes change color as the hours pass, from the pale pink of dawn to the dazzling white of noon to the gold of sunset. "20,000 artisans worked for 22 years, using techniques still mysterious today, to set precious stones in floral designs so delicate they seem like embroidery. Its perfect proportions, moreover, are not casual. Every measure, every angle responds to precise mathematical formulas, creating a harmony that speaks directly to the soul of the observer. Bagan, Myanmar. An infinite plain in the heart of Myanmar guards a treasure of over 2,000 Buddhist temples, each a chapter of a story lost in the mists of time. For 2.5 centuries, the sovereigns of this land raised sanctuaries and stupas in an endless celestial competition. At dawn, when hot air balloons soar through the golden air, they reveal a landscape that challenges imagination. An ocean of spires and domes, emerging from the morning mist. Each structure is an archive of devotion, each brick a silent witness to ancient prayers. Machu Picchu, Peru. Suspended among the clouds of the Andes, a lost city defies time and gravity. Machu Picchu is not just stone, rather, it's a bridge between sky and earth, built with a precision that still leaves one speechless today. Each block used for its realization, some weighing as much as 5 elephants, fits with the next without need for mortar, in an architectural puzzle that has resisted 500 years of earthquakes. At the solstices, the sun passes through strategically positioned windows, transforming the city into a cosmic calendar in stone. The Incas didn't know the wheel, yet they created agricultural terraces that seemed to climb the mountains, temples that dialogue with the stars, and a hydraulic system that still works perfectly today. It's a place where the impossible has become reality, where each stone tells the story of human ingenuity that defies the laws of nature. Great Buddha of Leshan, China. A mountain transformed into a spiritual guardian. Standing 233 feet tall, the Buddha of Leshan is an engineering work that required 90 years and generations of artisans. Standing 233 feet tall, the Buddha of Leshan is an engineering work that required 90 years and generations of artisans. Moreover, its proportions challenge imagination. 23-foot ears that can accommodate a person and toes larger than an entire man. Born to protect navigators from turbulent rivers, the giant has kept its promise with the debris from its creation that has actually modified the currents, making the waters safer. Rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, Ethiopia. In the heart of the Ethiopian highlands, 11 monolithic churches were carved directly into volcanic rock in the 12th century. Unlike traditional structures, these churches were created from top to bottom, removing rock to reveal the building inside. The Church of St. George, 39 feet deep, has a perfect cross plan and is connected to the other churches through a network of tunnels and trenches. These sacred spaces, still used for worship today, are illuminated by thousands of candles during traditional celebrations. Petra, Jordan. In the heart of the Jordanian desert, an entire city emerges from red rock, like a mirage entirely made of stone. Petra was not built, but sculpted. The Nabateans transformed sandstone walls into facades of temples and palaces, creating a work of art as large as a metropolis. The Sikh, a narrow canyon 1 kilometer long, suddenly opens onto the treasury, whose 40-meter-high facade captures the light of the rising sun, transforming stone into gold. But this is just the beginning. Secret stairs lead to places of sacrifice on mountaintops, while an intricate hydraulic system transforms sudden floods into a source of life. Colosseum, Italy. In the heart of Rome, a travertine giant tells 2,000 years of history. The Colosseum is not just an amphitheater, It's a time machine in stone, designed to amaze. Its architects created a system of 80 arches that distribute the weight of 55,000 tons with such mastery that the building has survived earthquakes, looting, and centuries of abandonment. Beneath the arena, a labyrinth of tunnels and mechanisms allowed gladiators and beasts to appear magically from the sand in spectacles that could even include naval battles. Here every stone tells a story, from ancient fans' graffiti to holes created to steal bronze pins during the Middle Ages. At sunset, when the sun filters through the arches, one can almost hear the echo of crowds that once filled these marble stands. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. A temple city as large as Paris emerges from the Cambodian jungle, where giant trees have embraced ancient stones for millennia now. Angkor Wat is not just the world's largest religious building, it's a model of the universe carved in stone. Its 5 towers represent the peaks of Mount Meru, the dwelling of the gods, while the moats that surround it symbolize the cosmic oceans. 8,750 yards of bas-reliefs tell stories of gods, kings, epic wars in daily life, carved with such detail that one can distinguish dancers' hairstyles and patterns on fabrics. During the equinox, the sun rises exactly above the central tower, transforming the entire complex into an astronomical calendar of titanic proportions. Great Wall of China, China. A stone dragon that winds through mountains and deserts for over 13,000 miles. The Great Wall is not a simple wall, it's the greatest construction enterprise in human history. Every stone tells a story of sacrifice, but also of incredible determination. Indeed, it's said that for every yard of wall, a worker died. Built and rebuilt for over 2,000 years, the wall is a living history book in which each dynasty has added its own chapter, modifying techniques and materials. In some points, rice was used as mortar, creating a binder more resistant than modern cement. While walking on its ancient steps worn by time, each step carries through centuries of history, wars, commerce, and dreams of empires that believed they could build eternity in stone. Hagia Sophia, Turkey. Where East meets West stands a monument to the fusion of cultures. Hagia Sophia is a poem of light written in stone, where a 180-foot dome seems to defy gravity. The secret of its lightness lies in Rhodes bricks, so light they float on water. "40 windows create a circle of light that flows through the dome, illuminating an interior where Christian and Islamic art intertwine in a centuries-old dialogue." The columns inherited from the Temple of Artemis support not only the structure, but millennia of history. The golden mosaics finally still shine today, witnesses of an era when the impossible became reality. Moai of Easter Island, Chile. At the most remote point in the Pacific, the Stone Army defies time. The Moai are more than simple statues. They are the ancestors of the Rapa Nui people, transformed into volcanic stone. Each colossus, which can reach 33 feet and the weight of 80 elephants, has completed an incredible journey. From the quarry of Rano Raraku volcano to its final destination, without the aid of wheels or metals. With coral eyes now lost, these cosmic guardians still watch over the island, carrying with them unsolved enigmas about their creation and transport. Secrets guarded in the same volcanic rock that generated them. Burj Khalifa, United Arab Emirates. From the desert rises a vertical city that touches the clouds. The Burj Khalifa is inspired by the Hymenocalyx flower and is a structure of steel and glass that opens toward the sky. Its Y shape is not just aesthetic, it's architectural precision that contrasts with the Gulf winds. While elevators race at 33 feet per second, the air conditioning system daily produces the equivalent of 20 Olympic pools in condensation. The 2,700 to 17-foot height creates its own microclimate, with a temperature difference of 14 degrees Fahrenheit between base and summit. At night, 18,000 lights transform this modern marvel into a 21st century lighthouse visible from space. Terracotta Warriors, China. An eternal army sleeps in the heart of Shanxi. 8,000 unique faces, 130 chariots, 670 horses, each piece tells a story of artisanal perfection. These warriors are not mass-produced copies. They are terracotta individuals, each with fingerprints of ancient artisans still visible. These warriors are not mass-produced copies. They are terracotta individuals, each with fingerprints of ancient artisans still visible. The vivid colors that decorated these little soldiers vanished instantly upon contact with modern air. Here, beyond this silent army, also lies an even greater mystery, which is the tomb of Emperor Qin, guarded by legendary rivers of mercury and deadly traps. Nazca Lines, Peru. An open-air museum challenges our understanding in the Peruvian desert, where time seems to have stopped to preserve a millennial enigma. Monumental figures, some as large as 3 football fields, draw an art gallery visible only from above, testifying to incredible mathematical precision. The secret of their preservation lies in chemistry. In fact, the ferrous soil, moved to reveal the light earth underneath, has been preserved for 2 millennia by the absence of wind and rain in this unique environment. But the real enigma lies in their creation. An ancient people traced perfect forms without ever being able to see them in their entirety, leaving us a mystery that defies logic. Among the hypotheses, some see an astronomical calendar, others a message to the gods, while the desert keeps its secret, and the lines continue to tell silent stories through the centuries. Chichen Itza, Mexico. A library of Maya knowledge written in stone rises in the jungle of Yucatan. The Temple of Kukulkan is a 3-dimensional almanac with 365 steps that narrate the days of the year, while 18 terraces recall the months of the Maya calendar. During the equinoxes, a millennial game of lights and shadows makes the feathered serpent Kukulkan descend along the staircase. But the stones also hide sound secrets, like a simple clap that generates the echo of the sacred Quetzal. Like a Chinese box, beneath this pyramid exists another, older one, that guards further mysteries of this extraordinary civilization. Golden Gate Bridge, United States. In the fog of San Francisco, an orange-colored giant tells a story of engineering audacity. The Golden Gate Bridge is not just a communication route, it's a victorious challenge against the elements. Its main cables, long enough to wrap around the planet 3 times, orchestrate a perpetual dance with the wind. Its characteristic international orange color emerges from the fog like a lighthouse, while since 1937, a team of painters keeps this giant alive in an infinite cycle of painting. At sunset, when solar rays transform its 4,200 feet into gold, one understands why this bridge has become a timeless icon. St. Peter's Basilica, Vatican. A miracle of proportions where mathematics meets faith. 8 football fields of art and spirituality merge, under a dome that defies comprehension. The numbers tell an extraordinary story, with 15,432 tons of weight pressing on 16 ribs, supported by pillars massive as palaces. Bernini's baldachin, forged from bronze from the Pantheon, rises for 7 floors, creating perspective games that deceive the eye. In the morning, the true magic is revealed, with solar rays that cross the dome, creating what Romans call the glory of God, a dance of light and dust that transforms a sacred space into a celestial theater. Borobudur, Indonesia. A sacred round object of volcanic stone emerges from the mist of Java Island. More than a temple, Borobudur is a spiritual journey. Its 9 platforms form a path toward enlightenment, while 2,672 panels tell the world's oldest comic strip, with stories of karma and dharma carved in stone. In this 3-dimensional book, 504 Buddhas meditate in silence. Their hands tell different stories, while 72 voluminous bells crown the summit. At dawn, when morning mist embraces the temple, this sacred mountain seems to float between 2 worlds, suspended between earth and sky. Forbidden City, China. A miniature cosmos guards the secrets of imperial power in the heart of Beijing. With 9,999 buildings, one less than paradise, the Forbidden City is a codified universe. There are yellow tiles reserved for the emperor that shine under the sun, while 5 clawed dragons watch over the roofs, and figurines march on the gutters to protect the wood of the buildings. In the night silence, the vast empty courtyards still whisper the stories of their ancient inhabitants, when only the Son of Heaven could walk in these sacred spaces, protected by high crimson walls that hid from the world the mysteries of imperial life. Neuschwanstein Castle, Germany. In the Bavarian Alps, where mist caresses snowy peaks, the dreams of a solitary king take shape with white stone and fantasy, creating a living painting among the mountains. Neuschwanstein is the perfect incarnation of 19th century Romanticism, a fairy tale castle with a surprisingly modern soul where dream and reality merge in magical harmony. Ludwig II, its visionary creator, spent only 172 days there before his mysterious end in the waters of Lake Starnberg, leaving behind an unsolved enigma. Today, this palace, which inspired Walt Disney and the Sleeping Beauty Castle, continues to capture imagination and make anyone dream who gets lost among its towers and enchanted halls. Alhambra, Spain. Water whispers ancient stories among the walls of Granada, where Islamic caliphs created their paradise on earth. The Alhambra is the perfect expression of Nasrid architecture, where mathematics and nature merge in a harmony studied down to the smallest details. The fountains here are designed as musical instruments. Each jet is calibrated to produce a precise note, creating a melody that crosses the courtyards. In the walls, Arabic calligraphy repeats, "Only Allah is victorious," transforming writing into geometric designs that follow precise mathematical rules. At sunset, when the sun strikes its sandstone walls, the Alhambra is tinged with intense red, revealing why poets called it "pearl among emeralds" of the surrounding gardens. Meteora Monasteries, Greece. Between earth and sky, faith has built the impossible in the vertigo of space. On 1,312-foot-tall sandstone pinnacles, medieval monks created spiritual refuges using only ropes, pulleys, and a devotion that defied gravity itself. For centuries, swinging wooden baskets were the only connection with the earthly world, their ropes replaced only when God broke them, in an act of absolute faith. Of the original 24 monasteries, 6 still resist, clinging to the rock like eagles' nests, cultivating gardens wrested from stone. When mist rises from the Thessalian Valley at sunset, these buildings seem to navigate on clouds, suspended in a mystical limbo between earthly and divine world, eternal guardians of faith. Hanging Monastery of Xuankang, China. An architectural enigma clinging to rock for 15 centuries. Without foundations, supported only by wooden poles wedged into stone, the temple defies gravity at 246 feet high. It's a place where three faiths, Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, meet in a three-dimensional puzzle of corridors and pavilions. The silence here is broken only by wind singing among century-old beams, and by the sound of bronze bells, while pilgrims still today defy vertigo to reach this suspended miracle. Trevi Fountain, Italy. An aquatic theater is fed in the heart of Rome thanks to a 2,000-year-old artery. The Vergine Aqueduct, built in 19 BC, continues to bring life to this imposing Baroque fountain, where the god Oceanus emerges on a chariot drawn by seahorses among tritons and divinities. Every day, 21 million gallons of water flow through 24 mouths, precipitating on artificial rocks forged with fragments of the Colosseum. The fountain exploits the natural slope of the aqueduct to create pressure, a perfect example of Roman hydraulic ingenuity. At night, illumination transforms this mass of water into silver cascades that seem to take on life of their own, while the thousands of coins thrown by visitors, which are over 3,000 euros per day, are collected at dawn and destined for Roman caritas, transforming an ancient ritual into a tool of social aid. Tiger's Nest, Bhutan. In the vertiginous heights of the Bhutanese Himalayas, at 9,843 feet above sea level, a monastery defies the laws of physics and imagination. Paro Takshang, known as Tiger's Nest, seems like an impossible painting come to reality. Buddhist tradition tells of Guru Rinpoche, who reached this place riding a flying tigress to defeat demonic forces. Today, after an arduous 2-hour climb through pine-scented trails and refreshed by waterfalls, pilgrims reach this sanctuary suspended between earth and sky, where incense perfumes the thin air and prayer flags dance in the wind of the altitudes. Notre Dame, France. A Gothic phoenix rises from the ashes in the heart of Paris. Its medieval builders revolutionized architecture, transforming flying buttresses from hidden structural elements into visible stone wings, while 1,113 biblical scenes, painted on glass in colors impossible to replicate today, create what Victor Hugo defined as a divine kaleidoscope. The 2019 fire, despite its devastation, revealed secrets guarded for centuries. Nails forged entirely by hand, graffiti left by medieval artisans, and a hidden forest of 1,500 oaks in the roof, each from a different 13th century tree. In Europe's most delicate construction site, modern artisans have replicated 8th-century-old techniques, from manual forging to stone carving, to make this marvel reborn. Today, Paris has finally welcomed back its cathedral, which reopened on December 8th as a symbol of resilience that has weathered revolutions, wars, and flames. Abu Simbel, Egypt. Two twin temples, carved into the red rock of Nubia, is so far from the world that they seem to belong to another planet. Ramses II, the most megalomaniacal pharaoh in history, had 4 colossal statues of himself carved here, 20 meters tall, which have watched over the Nile for 3,200 years. Every detail tells of his glory, including the double royal cobra on his forehead, or the perfect folds of the pleated loincloth, or even the 3-meter-long feet that symbolically trample the enemies of Egypt. Inside the temple, corridors and halls follow one another, among pillars decorated with battle scenes and colored reliefs that seem painted yesterday. The walls tell the victories of Ramses, especially the Battle of Kadesh, where the pharaoh boasted of having defeated thousands of enemies by himself. Beside the Great Temple rises the one dedicated to Queen Nefertari, where for the first time in Egyptian history, a woman appears as tall as the pharaoh. A true silent revolution carved in stone. Inside the temple twice a year, that is on February 22nd and October 22nd, a ray of sun crosses 60 meters of dark corridors to perfectly illuminate 3 of the 4 statues in the Sancta Sanctorum. And do you know why only 3 are illuminated? Because the 4th represents Ptah, god of darkness and the underworld, and must remain forever in the dark according to Egyptian theology. Palace of Versailles, France. A golden universe where power became art, 12 miles from Paris. Versailles manifests itself through numbers that tell the obsession with grandeur. 357 mirrors multiply space in the Hall of Mirrors, while 50 fountains dance thanks to 21 miles of period piping, a prodigy of 17th century hydraulic engineering. Moreover, the Queen's private rooms hide sophisticated mechanisms for the era, including walls that slide silently at the touch of a hidden button, anticipating modern home automation by centuries. When the sun sets and Mozart's notes accompany the dance of illuminated fountains, Louis XIV's megalomaniac dream continues to live, crystallized in an eternal golden afternoon where every detail tells a story of absolute power. Mount Rushmore, United States. A mix of dynamite and chisels transformed the Black Mountain into an American history book. "400 artisans worked 14 years to create the world's largest sculptural group, where Washington's nose is as long as a bus and Lincoln's eyes could house rooms. Precision was everything, and 90% of the mountain was removed with explosives calibrated to the millimeter, while an ingenious cable system transferred measurements from the model to the rock. Today, expert climbers scale the presidential faces, sealing microscopic wounds of time. Himeji Castle, Japan. A white heron of wood and stone dominates the Harima Plain. This inviolate fortress is a labyrinth of 83 buildings, where each corridor hides a deception and each wall conceals a secret. The 10-foot walls hide arrow slits and wells for boiling oil, while samurai once waited in false garden pits. Its whiteness is not vanity, but is plaster created with a mixture of gypsum, rice, and marine shells, which has protected the castle from wars and bombs. In spring, when cherry trees explode in bloom, the white giant navigates on a pink sea of petals. Stonehenge, United Kingdom. A cosmic stone clock has dominated the Salisbury Plain for 5,000 years. Each megalith of the outer circle, weighing as much as 4 elephants, has traveled 155 miles from the Welsh mountains, while the smaller blue stones hide a sound secret that is, when struck, they resonate like an ancient musical instrument. At the summer solstice, the first ray of sun crosses the center of the monument to strike the heel stone, marking the beginning of the new solar cycle. The builders created male-female joints with stone working techniques so advanced they would only be rediscovered 4 millennia later, testifying to knowledge that still surprises us today. Potala Palace, Tibet. At 12,139 feet altitude, an artificial mountain rises in the Tibetan sky of Lhasa. 1,000 rooms, 10,000 shrines, and 200,000 sacred statues hide behind walls 16 feet thick, creating the largest treasure of Tibetan Buddhist art. To build this marvel, 7,000 workers and 1,500 artists transported giant logs onto the sacred mountain, while the walls, painted with pigments obtained from ground precious stones, capture the sun's warmth for the frigid winters of the plateau. Every day, hundreds of pilgrims perform the Kora, the sacred walk around the palace, praying and prostrating in this ritual that unites body and spirit. St. Basil's Cathedral, Russia. On Red Square in Moscow towers a cathedral unique in the world. 9 independent chapels surround the central tower, each crowned by a dome painted with geometric motifs that makes it different from all others. The internal corridors intertwine like a labyrinth, connecting chapels decorated with frescoes that cover every inch of wall. Tradition tells that Ivan the Terrible had architects Barma and Postnik blinded to prevent them from replicating elsewhere this architectural marvel, which for 500 years has dominated Moscow's most important square. Ellora Caves, India. In Maharashtra, 34 temples emerge from a mountain wall like a vertical art gallery carved in rock. Here, for 15 centuries, 3 religions have coexisted, and Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain temples follow one another along the basalt wall. The Kailasa temple is the heart of the complex. To create it, sculptors removed 440,000 tons of rock from top to bottom, as if they were freeing an architecture already contained in the mountain. During monsoon, water flows along the carved walls, transforming the reliefs into natural waterfalls. Shwedagon Pagoda, Myanmar. In the heart of Yangon rises a pagoda covered with 27,000 gold sheets and decorated with 7,000 precious stones. The structure guards 8 hairs of Buddha, a relic that has transformed this place into Myanmar's spiritual center. Thousands of golden bells moved by wind create constant music that accompanies the faithful in their circumambulation. The complex is the result of centuries of donations. In fact, each gold leaf was offered by devotees, transforming the pagoda into a collective monument to Buddhist faith. Uxmal, Mexico. From the Yucatan jungle emerges one of the most important Maya cities, built according to the Puuc architectural style, between 700 and 1000 AD. The Pyramid of the Magician, 115 feet tall, dominates the site with its peculiar oval base. The Nunnery Quadrangle, instead, a complex of 4 buildings, is decorated with 74 masks of the rain god Chak, each individually carved in stone. Maya engineers transformed this arid territory into a city of 25,000 inhabitants thanks to an underground water system of cisterns and canals that collected and conserved rainwater throughout the year. Luxor, Egypt. Imagine a museum city where every stone speaks of gods and pharaohs. Luxor rises on the ruins of ancient Thebes, which was the capital of the empire when Egypt dominated the known world. Here between the two banks of the Nile, we find the Temple of Luxor, the complex of Karnak, and the Valley of the Kings. The Valley of the Kings opens like a natural amphitheater carved in the desert, where 64 pharaohs rest, including young Tutankhamun. Their tombs are authentic art galleries with walls painted with scenes from the Book of the Dead, stellar maps, and magical formulas to guide the king in the afterlife. The tomb of Seti I, 120 meters long, descends into the bowels of the mountain, while Ramses VI rests under a ceiling that reproduces the sky goddess Nut. Every tomb is a journey into the deepest Egyptian imagination, where death is not an end, but transformation. Continuing on the other side of the Nile, the Temple of Karnak awaits like a giant. It is a religious complex as large as 10 cathedrals, built by 30 different pharaohs over the span of 2,000 years. The hypostyle hall, that is supported by columns, counts 134 columns as tall as 7-story buildings, decorated with hieroglyphs that still shine with original colors. Walking inside means becoming tiny ants. The Temple of Luxor, finally, is distinguished by its access avenue flanked by sphinxes and by its twin obelisks, one of which now stands in Paris in Place de la Concorde. It was connected to the nearby Temple of Karnak and served for great religious festivals, when thousands of people gathered to celebrate the gods. Palace of Westminster, United Kingdom. The British Parliament operates from the Palace of Westminster, a neo-Gothic complex rebuilt after the 1834 fire. Beneath the parliamentary debate halls extends a network of medieval tunnels that includes Edward I's royal wardrobe from 1300, one of the few structures that survived the fire. The palace also contains 1,100 rooms, connected by 1.9 miles of corridors, where the British Parliament continues to meet. Elizabeth Tower, erroneously called Big Ben, is an integral part of the parliamentary complex, but functions independently with its clock mechanism, regulated by a system of Victorian pennies on the pendulum to maintain its precision. St. Mark's Square, Italy. Venice's main square encapsulates millennia of the Republic's history. The Basilica, a unique synthesis of Byzantine and Western styles, is decorated with 86,111 square feet of golden mosaics that change color with daylight. On the facade, the 4 bronze horses are war booty from Constantinople, temporarily transferred to Paris by Napoleon and then returned. The 5 bronze portals, weighing several tons each, guard the treasures of one of the world's richest basilicas, where Eastern marbles and Byzantine relics tell the story of a city that for centuries served as a bridge between East and West. Sagrada Familia, Spain. A dream grows toward Barcelona's sky for over 140 years. The Sagrada Familia is not a simple cathedral. It's the genial obsession of Antoni Gaudí, an architect who wanted to transform nature's geometry into prayer. Its towers rise powerfully, while internal columns branch like stone trees, creating a sacred forest where light dances through stained glass that seems to capture the rainbow. Every detail tells something, from carved snails that symbolize patience to the nativity facade that seems to melt like wax. Modern architects using advanced computers have discovered that Gaudí's calculations, done by hand a century ago, were perfect. When completed in 2026, its central tower will touch 564 feet, 3 feet shorter than Montjuic, precisely because Gaudí believed that man's work should not surpass God's work. Christ the Redeemer, Brazil. On Corcovato's summit, a giant of cement and soapstone opens its arms to Rio de Janeiro, as in an eternal embrace. Christ the Redeemer is an engineering miracle that defies wind, lightning, and gravity. Built piece by piece on the mountain, each tile of its external mosaic was applied by hand by women who wrote love messages on the back of each piece. Standing 125 feet tall, it resists winds of 155 miles per hour and is struck by lightning on average 4 times per year, surviving thanks to an ingenious lightning rod system hidden in the fingers. At night, when lights illuminate it, it seems to float above the city like a silent guardian, while its eyes, created with tiny dark glass tiles, seem to follow you wherever you go. Eiffel Tower, France. A dance of iron and light dominates Paris's skyline. What was supposed to be a temporary 20-year monument has become the immortal icon of the Ville Lumière. Its 2.5 million rivets unite 18,000 pieces in an engineering masterpiece that breathes with the seasons. In fact, it stretches 6 inches under summer sun, while its tip sways up to 3 inches in wind. Every 7 years, this giant receives a new dress, with 66 tons of paint that protect it from corrosion. When night falls, 20,000 LEDs transform the structure into an earthly constellation, crowned by a lighthouse that projects its light up to 50 miles away. Statue of Liberty, United States. On New York's harbor stands a 302-foot copper colossus. The structure, designed by Gustave Eiffel, is covered by 300 copper sheets as thick as 2 coins, supported by a steel frame that allows the statue to sway up to 3 inches in wind. The crown has 7 points to represent continents and oceans, while the face was modeled on that of Charlotte Bartholdi, the sculptor's mother. The characteristic green color is, instead, the result of oxidation of originally brown copper, a process that required 20 years. Prajama Castle, Slovenia. A medieval fortress that was built inside a cavern at 404 feet high, directly in the rock wall. The natural cave system behind the castle extends for over 8.7 miles, providing secret passages and a perennial water source that made the castle practically impregnable during sieges. Its most famous inhabitant, Knight Erasmus, used these tunnels for his raids until he was killed by a cannon shot while in the external latrine, the only vulnerable point of the castle itself. Sumela Monastery, Turkey. Clinging to a rock wall at 3,937 feet high, Sumela Monastery was built in 386 AD in the Black Sea region. The monks created an elaborate system of ropes and pulleys to transport materials and provisions, also exploiting a natural spring that still gushes from the rock today. The Byzantine frescoes have been exceptionally preserved thanks to the cave's particular microclimate, which has protected them for centuries from weather. The monastery, moreover, was built exploiting every natural recess of the rock, integrating perfectly with the mountain wall. Landwasser Viaduct, Switzerland. The Landwasser Railway Viaduct, completed in 1902, crosses an alpine valley for 466 feet on 6 limestone arches. before entering directly into the rock wall. Its construction represented an engineering challenge. Without supports from the valley below, in fact, workers worked on suspended platforms to assemble 56,534 cubic feet of limestone blocks. Today, the Bernina Express, with its characteristic red cars, regularly crosses this viaduct at 213 feet high, connecting Thusis to Filisure through one of the Alps' most audacious railway projects. Pina Palace, Portugal. On Sintra's heights, Pena Palace represents one of the first examples of European Romantic architecture. Built in the 19th century by the will of Ferdinand II, the palace incorporates ruins of an ancient monastery in a new building that combines Moorish, Gothic, and Manueline elements. The facades, painted in vivid shades of yellow and red, contrast with elaborate decorative elements like gargoyles, mythological creatures, and carved chimneys. Moreover, the palace's elevated position allows spotting the Atlantic Ocean on clear days. Corinth Canal, Greece. The Corinth Canal, completed in 1893, cuts the Greek isthmus for 3.9 miles. The walls, 279 feet high, expose geological layers of limestone rock that tell millions of years of Earth's history. Construction required removal of 424 million cubic feet of rock to create a 69-foot-wide passage. The canal, already dreamed by Romans, today allows ships to avoid circumnavigating the Peloponnese, although its width limits passage only to smaller vessels. Leaning Tower of Pisa, Italy. An error become icon, an architectural paradox that defies logic. The story of Pisa's tower is an interweaving of art and accident, and its defect is its most luminous glory. Each year it leans 1 to 2 millimeters in a centuries-old dance with gravity that keeps everyone breathless. Medieval builders, trying to correct the inclination, unconsciously created a curve, which today is the key to its survival. Moreover, the modern 1990 intervention removed 77 tons of soil, reducing inclination by 18 inches and transforming this failure into a triumph of engineering through the centuries. Las Lajas Sanctuary, Colombia. "328 feet above the Guaitara River, a Gothic cathedral integrates into a canyon wall. Built at the point where in 1754 the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared, Las Lajas doesn't rest on ground, but emerges directly from rock, supported by two 164-foot arches that cross the void. The main structure is anchored to canyon walls, while a stone bridge connects the church to the main road. The church's stained glass creates light games on the canyon's natural walls, merging Gothic architecture with the geology of the place. Mount Popa, Myanmar. A Buddhist monastery crowns a 2,417-foot volcanic pinnacle in central Myanmar. The building, dedicated to Nat spirits of local tradition, is reachable through a covered staircase of 777 steps carved into rock, and the monkeys that inhabit the site are considered sacred and protected. The religious complex, with its golden pagodas, was built integrating structures into volcanic rock, exploiting every natural outcrop of the mountain. Saint-Michel, France. A castle between sky and sea, dances with Normandy's tides, emerging like a vision from changing waters. This stone spiral wraps upward like a giant shell, crowned by a golden archangel that defies clouds and dominates the horizon. Twice daily, Europe's most powerful tides transform this sacred place, with water advancing at the speed of a galloping horse, recreating and erasing the ancient pilgrim's path in a spectacle that enchants and intimidates. Its construction is a story of impossible challenges, with stones transported on boats during high tide, hoisted by slaves who walked in gigantic wooden wheels, while its walls, as thick as 3 men, have resisted centuries of sieges and storms, witnesses of unshakable faith. Petronas Towers, Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur's Twin Towers, 1,479 feet tall, reinterpret Islamic geometric motifs in modern key. A suspended bridge connects the 2 buildings at the 41st floor, designed to oscillate up to 20 inches in strong winds. The facades, instead, contain 33,000 special glass windows that reflect heat, reducing energy consumption. The high-resistance reinforced concrete structure is covered by stainless steel and glass panels, creating a modular system based on octagonal forms typical of Islamic art. Cathedral of Florence, Italy. Brunelleschi's dome, completed in 1436, remains a masterpiece of Renaissance engineering. 148 feet tall, it was built without support centering, using over 4 million bricks arranged in a herringbone pattern that locks them reciprocally. Workers used innovative machinery designed by Brunelleschi himself to hoist 40,785 tons of material. On the south facade, a 1475 gnomon still projects today a ray of sun that indicates solar noon and solstices. Agra Fort, India. .2 miles from the Taj Mahal rises a fortress that was the heart of the Mughal Empire. The red sandstone walls enclose white marble palaces connected by a system of hanging gardens that functioned as natural air conditioning. A complex system of mirrors and light wells illuminated internal rooms. Here, Emperor Shah Jahan spent the last 8 years of his life, imprisoned by his son in a room overlooking the Taj Mahal, the mausoleum he had built for his wife. Alcázar of Segovia, Spain. On a limestone rock spur, the Alcázar has dominated the Castilian plain for 9 centuries. It seems to emerge directly from rock, transforming raw stone into a vision so powerful it captured Walt Disney's imagination for his fairy tale castle. Behind walls 10 feet thick, military architecture hides a royal palace where each element tells a story of power and survival. The fortress has served as artillery academy, royal prison, and archive, surviving wars and revolutions. Today, its unmistakable silhouette continues to watch over Segovia's old city, a symbol of how human ingenuity can transform a rocky outcrop into a masterpiece that defies centuries. Tower Bridge, United Kingdom. The Victorian age left London a timeless gift, a bridge that is much more than a simple connection route. Tower Bridge, completed in 1894, represents the apex of 19th century British ingenuity. Its twin towers, dressed in neo-Gothic stone, house an ingenious hydraulic system that still today allows the bridge to open like a gigantic steel book. Modern visitors walk on glass floors suspended above the Thames, while beneath them the river's life continues its centuries-old course. It's a living testimony of an era when the British Empire transformed the most audacious dreams into tangible reality. Statue of Unity, India. Touching Gujarat's sky with its 597 feet, rises a bronze and steel titan that tells a story of unification. This monument to Sardar Patel, inaugurated in 2018, is not just the world's tallest statue, but a prodigy of modern engineering. Its structure, designed to resist fierce winds of 112 miles per hour and earthquakes up to 6.5 magnitude, houses inside a panoramic elevator. Visitors ascending through the statue's heart reach a magnificent view of the dam and Satpura mountain chains, contemplating the legacy of the man who transformed 562 princely states into a united nation. Tikal, Guatemala. From the green mantle of Peten's jungle rise stone testimonies of a lost civilization. Tikal's Maya pyramids still dominate their realm, sharing it with howler monkeys and colorful toucans. The Great Plaza still resonates with echoes of ancient rituals, while the majestic Great Jaguar Pyramid stands against the sky like a calendar carved in stone. In the early morning hours, when mist gently envelops the ruins, time seems to stop, bringing us back to when 100,000 Maya populated this jungle metropolis, now silent witness of a vanished empire. Teotihuacan, Mexico. A few hours from Mexico City lies a city that was already legend when the Aztecs discovered it. Teotihuacan, the sacred place where men become gods, extends majestically along the Avenue of the Dead, a monumental artery that unites the Pyramid of the Moon to the Pyramid of the Sun. The latter, world's third largest pyramid, testifies to mathematical and architectural wisdom that continues to amaze modern scholars. When the sun sets, the ancient stones light up red, as if the blood of sacred rituals still flowed among the monumental steps of this mysterious city. Cathedral of Seville, Spain. On the ground of an ancient mosque rises today one of the most grandiose examples of Christian Gothic architecture. Seville Cathedral, fruit of 106 years of incessant work, touches the sky with its 138-foot-high vaults. The Giralda, its emblematic tower, tells a story of cultural fusion, with Muslim base and Christian crowning. Its builders in 1401 pronounced words that became legend: "We will build a church so immense they will think us mad." Today, while Andalusian sun rays filter through centuries-old stained glass, they also illuminate Christopher Columbus's tomb, guarded in this temple that unites faith and human ambition. Acropolis of Athens, Greece. A perfect marble deception dominates Athens. The Acropolis is more than a sanctuary, it's mathematics transformed into visual poetry. The Parthenon reveals its secret in optical deceptions, with inclined and curved columns that seem perfectly straight, in a building where no true straight line exists, but only a set of imperceptible curves. These intentional errors, fruit of Ictinus and Callicrate's genius, create an illusion of perfection that has defied centuries, testifying to ancient architects' incredible understanding of the human eye. In twilight silence, one can almost hear the echo of Pericles' steps and the whisper of prayers to Athena, while the modern city lights up at the feet of this eternal stone sentinel. Czar of Eight Ben Haddou, Morocco. Like a dream materialized from desert sand, the Czar of Ayat Ben Haddou rises eternal in southern Morocco. This fortified Berber village has defied 1,000 years of elements, despite being built with pisi, which is an ancient mixture of clay and straw. Its towers, time sentinels on the historic caravan route, are tinged with gold at each new sunrise, while Hollywood has immortalized it in epic films like Gladiator and series like Game of Thrones. But the real magic resides in families that still inhabit these ancestral walls, preserving millennial traditions in modernity's whirlwind. Palm Jumeirah, United Arab Emirates. In the Persian Gulf, where future meets impossible, a gigantic palm extends into the ocean, so vast it's visible to astronauts in orbit. This modern engineering marvel required 3.3 billion cubic feet of sand and 194 million stones, transforming Gulf waters into habitable land. Each frond of this artificial palm is a luxury residential quarter, while a crescent-shaped island barrier protects this audacious creation from ocean forces. Palm Jumeirah represents the triumph of human ambition over nature itself, a monument to man's capacity to transform the most ardent dreams into concrete reality. Tanah Lot Temple, Indonesia. On a black volcanic rock caressed by Indian Ocean waves rises a temple that for 5 centuries has defied Bali's tides. Tanalot emerges from waters like a mystical vision, isolated from mainland by the sea's eternal rhythm. Local tradition tells of a holy man who, after spending a night on the rock, built the sanctuary under protection of sacred sea serpents, who are said to still watch over the temple today. While the sun sets tinting waters with golden reflections, the temple's silhouette stands against the horizon like a portal between earthly and divine worlds. Plaza de España, Spain. In Seville, a 1929 architectural masterpiece tells the Spanish nation's story through a language of ceramics and architecture. Plaza de España is a symphony of styles that merges Mudéjar, Renaissance, and Art Deco elements in a harmonic celebration of national identity. An elegant semicircular canal, sailed by gracious boats, crosses the square, passing under 4 bridges that symbolize ancient Spanish kingdoms. Along the walls, elaborate benches decorated with azulejos narrate the stories of each Spanish province, creating an open-air museum of rich national history. Schönbrunn Palace, Austria. In Vienna's heart, 1,441 rooms guard the Habsburg legacy, a dynasty that for 3 centuries shaped Europe's destiny. Within these walls, young Mozart enchanted the court, while Maria Theresa orchestrated Austria's transformation into an imperial power. The gardens unfold in an intricate Baroque design, dominated by the majestic Neptune fountain. In the famous Hall of Mirrors, crystals still seem to retain reflections of centuries of imperial splendor, in a world where every detail tells stories of power and glory. Derinkuyu, Turkey. In Cappadocia's depths hides a prodigy of underground architecture. An 8-level vertical city carved into volcanic tuff, capable of housing 20,000 souls. Derinkuyu is an intricate complex of passages and chambers where each necessity of daily life found its space, from places of worship to stables, from water wells to warehouses. Enormous stone wheels could seal each floor, transforming this refuge into an impregnable fortress, where entire communities found shelter from persecutors, breathing thanks to a sophisticated natural ventilation system. Still today, this underground labyrinth guards the mysteries of those who sought salvation in Earth's bowels. Budapest Parliament, Hungary. On the Danube's bank is reflected a building that seems materialized from a Gothic dream. The Hungarian parliament raises its spires and domes in an architectural dance that defies gravity, fruit of work that required 100,000 precious stones and 88 pounds of gold. At sunset, when lights turn on, its silhouette reflects in river waters like an enchanted vessel. Inside, red marble staircases lead to the majestic dome hall, where St. Stephen's crown, millennial symbol of Magyar sovereignty, rests guarded by high uniformed guards. This building is undoubtedly the materialization in stone and gold of a nation's pride. Sydney Opera House, Australia. In Sydney Harbour's heart, a bouquet of white cement sails opens toward the Pacific Ocean. Born from a simple sketch on a napkin, the Opera House has become the symbol not only of a city, but of an entire continent. Its creator, Jörn Utzon, never saw his visionary work completed. Like a kaleidoscopic work of art, the building reveals a different face from every angle, merging architecture with music in a symphony of forms. St. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, Bulgaria. In Sofia's center, majestic golden domes rise toward the sky, commemorating the sacrifice of 200,000 Russian soldiers. This Orthodox temple, among the world's vastest, encloses monumental bells forged with cannon metal, weighing a total of 25 tons. Inside, in the penumbra brightened by candles, Russian and Bulgarian artists created extraordinary frescoes that narrate saints' and martyrs' lives. In the building's heart, the crypt guards an invaluable treasure that is the Balkans' richest collection of medieval icons. It's a place where Byzantine art reaches its apex, creating a mystical bridge between earthly and celestial worlds. The Sphinx of Giza, Egypt. Half man, half lion, the Sphinx emerges from the golden sand like an enigma carved in living rock. 73 meters long and 20 high, this mythological creature positions itself strategically beside the pyramids, completing the sacred complex of Giza with its mysterious presence. Its fixed gaze toward the east, where the sun rises every day, seems to dialogue eternally with the three colossi at its back. The face, probably that of Pharaoh Khafre, who is the same as the second pyramid, bears the signs of time and sandstorms. For centuries, this statue remained buried up to the neck, with only the head protruding from the desert like a forgotten dream. The missing nose, moreover, feeds legends. Some say it's Napoleon's fault, others blame religious fanatics. But the truth is simpler: natural erosion. Observing that ancient stone means letting yourself be enveloped by the world's most ancient mystery. What secrets does it hide beneath its powerful paws? Sheikh Zayed Mosque, United Arab Emirates. In Abu Dhabi's heart, a white marble vision creates an earthly paradise of light and color. Sheikh Zayed Mosque materializes like a spiritual oasis in the desert, where the floor transforms into a marble garden inlaid with precious stones. A colossal chandelier, adorned with Swarovski crystals and weighing as much as 2 elephants, dominates the internal space. After sunset, the 82 domes seem to come alive under moonlight, while a sophisticated illumination system reflects the lunar cycle on the white facade. It's a sanctuary where modernity and Islamic tradition merge in perfect harmony, where contemporary architecture bows to ancestral spirituality. Ayutthaya Historical Park, Thailand. From the Chao Phraya riverbed emerge vestiges of a forgotten empire. Waters surround what was once the flourishing capital of a kingdom that dominated Southeast Asia. Stone Buddhas, now prisoners of tree roots, are silent witnesses of a glorious past and its violent end. In 1767, in fact, Burmese invasion ended 4 centuries of Siamese dominion, leaving behind a trail of destruction symbolized by decapitated heads of sacred statues scattered among ruins. Yet in this place where nature has regained supremacy, ancient red bricks continue to whisper stories of a majestic past. Fanjing Mountain Temple, China. Suspended between sky and earth, an architectural jewel defies gravity's laws on Mount Fanjing's summit. This Buddhist temple, set in rock at 7,664 feet altitude, represents the triumph of human determination over wildest nature. Reachable only through 8,888 steps carved into the mountain, the temple witnesses the passage of seasons while clouds dance around its ancient walls, wrapping it in a veil of mystery. Here, where air becomes thin, subtropical rainforest, primordial vegetation embraces the structure, creating a unique ecosystem in the world. It's the perfect manifestation of how sacred architecture can merge with unspoiled nature's majesty. Ifugao Rice Terraces, Philippines. Two millennia ago, Philippine mountain inhabitants began a titanic work, transforming steep slopes into a monumental stairway toward the sky. These terraces wind for 13,670 miles, a distance sufficient to circle half the terrestrial globe, and a complex water system brings water from rainforest to the last cultivated steppe. Local tradition precisely attributes to gods the teaching of this art to the Ifugao in a living monument to human ingenuity, where each terrace tells a story of perseverance. Jem Amphitheatre, Tunisia. From Tunisian desert emerges a stone giant that rivals the Roman Colosseum in size, surpassing it in state of conservation. This amphitheater, which once hosted 30,000 spectators in the Roman province of Africa, hides in its basements an intricate system of corridors where gladiators and beasts awaited their destiny. Through centuries, the structure has reinvented itself as fortress, market, and refuge for nomads, but has maintained intact its imposingness. As echo of Rome's greatness on African soil, this golden colossus still dominates the landscape as it did 18 centuries ago.